In a factory struggling with a miserable repetitive task, management came up with what they thought was the perfect solution: a massive cash prize, life-changing money. Whoever performed best would win it. But something strange happened. Nobody volunteered. Why? The reward was so enormous that the workers thought they will fail. So management tried something absurd. They replaced the huge reward with a tiny symbolic prize. And suddenly people rushed in. By lowering the stakes, they removed the anxiety, shifting everyone's mindset from "I need to win a fortune" to "hey, this looks like a fun challenge." So, have you ever had a similar experience when the bigger your dream was, the harder it becomes to move? You start excited, motivated, obsessed, then slowly your energy disappears, not because you're lazy, but because your brain starts treating the dream like a threat. Psychologist Dr. Robert Maurer discovered something counterintuitive about change. In the 1990s, researchers at UCLA discovered something shocking. When people attempt dramatic changes, their amygdala fires warning signals as if they are facing a predator. But when the change is microscopic, your brain stays utterly calm, and in that calm space, you actually grow. Maurer reveals something rarely discussed in the self-development world. Your brain is designed to protect you from sudden change, even when the change is good. Here's what most people don't know. The internal critic that whispers, "You will never finish," isn't a confidence problem. It's a neurological response to possible failure. We've been told the opposite, but big dreams can actually hold you back. They can motivate you for a short time, but with a huge amount of stress. When you set a massive goal like, "I will write a novel by the next month," or "I will transform my life," your brain calculates the distance between where you are now and where you want to be. The gap registers as threat. Because what if you don't get there on time? I watched this stress destroy dreams during university. My friends and I were brilliant, hardworking, driven by enormous ambitions. Years later, none of us reached those goals. Not from lack of effort, we were already doing the work. I kept asking myself, why do I keep failing, even when I care deeply and I'm trying so hard? The problem was we were running on a maybe future, and when that reward doesn't arrive on time, your brain eventually says, "I'm exhausted, I'm done here." I remember one of my good friends at university. She woke up at 4:30 every morning. No day off. Meditation, stretching, healthy breakfast, motivational videos, everything recommended for success that you can find. Before sunrise, she was already in the library. She studied all day, brief break for lunch, then come back and studied again until night. And she kept this routine for years, even when there were no exams. Honestly, I thought she was going to become one of the top students in the country. That was her big goal, by the way. Not just the success, to be the best. But when the result came out, her name wasn't there. Not even the top 10, not even close. And what stayed with me wasn't just the result, it was what her life felt like during those years. I remember convincing her one afternoon to take a short break with me, just walk outside, eat something together, just to rest. But the whole time she was so anxious. Eventually she said to me, "I can't do this, I'm wasting time." And she left early to go back to studying. At the time, people probably looked at her and thought, "Wow, that's discipline." But now I think it was something else, because when your entire self-worth becomes attached to one distant goal, your mind never gets to rest. And the strange thing is, the student who ranked first in the country was one of her classmates. When she talked about him, she sounded genuinely shocked. Apparently, he studied mostly near the exam period, maybe for a month or two, then he stopped thinking about it and lived normally again. He was a nonchalant person, according to her, and I think that contrast stayed with me for years. One person was carrying the weight of the future every single day, while the other simply did what he could when the moment arrived. Many of us have been taught work hard now and get big reward later. But that big reward often feels distant, uncertain. But when the maybe someday hangs over you, not only motivation, but also peace of mind drains. In his experience, Dr. Maurer proves that even tiny actions can activate the brain's reward system. So he said next time give yourself a small, tangible reward early and often. Like a warm cup of tea after a page read, 5-minute stretch after an hour of work, a moment of reflect after a small win, an afternoon with your friend, being fully present and enjoying the weather. I think self-help culture really gets wrong here. When distance horizon become your only fuel, you sacrifice the present for a future you cannot even touch yet. Even if you arrive, you're too depleted to enjoy it. Instead of thinking about the effect of your hard work on your future, enjoy it now. Enjoy your performance. Give yourself some credit. When you consciously notice how your actions reflect your value, or build a small daily rewards into your routine, motivation and peace stops feeling forced. You experience more freedom, more creativity, and a quiet sense of satisfaction. And that shift, enjoying the task rather than chasing the finish line, is what makes progress sustainable. Here's what most people spend their lives missing. Transformation doesn't require dramatic leaps. First, it requires tiny, constant actions paired with complete presence. Second, giving yourself credit for the act itself, not for the future prize. And that internal satisfaction becomes its own fuel, independent of outcome you cannot control. A credit for living your values today. Real change rarely begins dramatically. It begins with actions so small your fear doesn't notice them. And over time, those invisible steps become a different life. The question isn't whether you're capable. The question is, are you willing to start invisibly small? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for your company, and see you in the next one.